injuring themselves by tripping and breaking a wrist or an ankle. So just try to keep your wits and show that very, try to appear very large. You can put your arms up above your head to appear even bigger, and then you just back away slowly to help that bear recognize that you are giving it plenty of space and you are diffusing the situation by leaving in a safe manner. And you can keep your eyes on the situation. I would not turn my back. I would keep an eye on what's going on so you know what the bear's response is going to be. So that's a really good idea not to run. And then of course the sense of smell, we've talked about that a little bit. Bears can smell up to a mile away. So they know when you're grilling Jimmy Dean sausage. They know where the McDonald's dumpster is. They know where the lakes are. They do a lot of travel that way and finding their way back to neighborhood to neighborhood. They know when trash day is. They're smelling things very far away. Last spring in Seminole County, we had a bear that was breaking into vehicles, into cars. It was like a little crime family. They were literally, she had figured out the door handles, and a couple of residents, the kids had left their lunch boxes in the car. She knew it. She went in there and grabbed them. Or the McDonald's bag, they had chicken nuggets the night before, and the McDonald's bag was still in there, and that residual smell. The bear knows. The car is not sealed as well as you think, so they follow their nose and can find their food sources really, really well. And that's one of the reasons, we ask that you try to secure those food sources, and nothing stinkier than cat food. They're going to find that too. Even the residual, if you leave the empty food bowl out, that can draw a bear in as well, because they have such an amazing sense of smell. And apparently they can read too. This is actually one of our traps. I'm kidding. This is one of our traps, and this is a bear that was down in the Kissimmee area, and we had tried to trap him and take this bear out of the area and take him back up to the forest, because in this community, it was a high tourism community where you have renters for like a week, and there's a lot of high turnover. So it was very difficult to teach all of those people how to secure their garbage because people were there and gone so much. So it was easier to actually move the bear out of this situation. But we had a very difficult time trapping him, and we swore he was just so intelligent, and that he was reading our signage just as a trail camera that we put with our traps. So pretty funny. They have compared the sense of bear smell as being 7 times greater than that of a bloodhound, which is pretty impressive. I don't know. I think at some point somebody needs to investigate training bears for search and rescue. Maybe that'll be even more effective. It could be interesting, because they really are. We're just beginning to understand the degree to which they're able to use their sense of smell to not only see and navigate their environment, but for food sources and everything else. It's really quite amazing. So we talked about ways to be safe. Obviously give bears plenty of space. Don't run. My kids think I'm a little bit cuckoo when I do this, but it's a safe practice, and I highly recommend it when you're hiking or coming out at dawn and dusk, or going to your car, coming in from work, whatever you're doing, and you're in bear country. It's a good idea to make noise. Say, "Hey bear," sing to yourself, talk to yourself, jingle your keys, step a little more heavily. Give bears warning that you are coming or you're around. Give a chance to scare them away. I do walk around when we hike and say, "Hey bear," when I'm letting the dogs out at night, "Hey bear, hey bear," and my kids just roll their eyes. They're like, "Oh my gosh." Now I did see a meme recently. There was on backpacker.com, I think, or something like that. They had this meme going around that said, "No, it's much more effective. A thing that you want to yell at bears to scare them away is you say, 'Hey bear, you better have my money.'" And that supposedly gets them running. So I think there's a bunch of things going around about exactly what should you yell at a bear. I think "Hey bear" works fine, but whatever works for you, you can make those noises. I think we tend to be very conscientious neighbors and try to creep around if we're moving at night to not disturb our neighbors. But it's a good idea for your safety and for the bear's safety and your neighbor's safety. Make a little noise. Close your door a little bit louder when you're coming and going. Turn on lights before you walk outside. Give that bear time to move away. All right, so one of the greatest things I think about Florida's black bears is they do give us plenty of warning when they're feeling uncomfortable. When you think about the brown bears or the bears out west or in Canada, there are some seriously predatory bears out there. Those bears hide, and you don't know what's coming. They can take you out. That's a predatory act. Our bears give you a fair amount of warning. They're called precursors to aggression. I love precursors because it's not a surprise. They're telling you through jaw popping, clacking their jaws. People tell me, "Oh, that was clacking their jaws, making this popping sound at me." That's a warning sign from a bear that they're feeling uncomfortable. They may huff. They'll hiss at you. And I get that description a lot from residents. Oh, it's being aggressive. It's hissing at me. It's warning you. It's telling you you're close enough to make me nervous. I don't feel right about the situation. Hopefully we'll both get out of it. We'll move. They may stomp the ground. A popular misconception, Hollywood's done us a little bit of a disservice. Every movie and commercial you see, when they show a bear, it goes, roar! That's not what they do. These bears are not going to stand up and roar at you and then attack. When they stand up, a lot of times what they're doing is assessing their environment for their exit strategy, trying to see, do I have a tree nearby to escape up? Do I have a way out that's unimpeded? What's going on around me? You're making them feel uncomfortable enough where they're standing up to see where can I go. They also get a good not only visual of their environment, but a better sense of smell of what's going on around their environment. Remember, that's a great way for them to see their environment as well. Nobody calls us when squirrels stand up. But, with bears, it's kind of similar. They're standing up for that same reason, that curiosity of, I'm looking around and I'm going to see what's my best way out of the situation. So what you're more likely to see with an aggressive bear is much like a dog. Those ears are going to be pinned back, they're going to look low at you, and it's going to have that aggressive look like you might be accustomed to seeing from a dog. That's a little bit more of a concerning behavior, and they may bluff charge. And the thing, we've been bluff charged a number of times. It never gets unscary. You don't know it's a bluff charge until they don't knock you down, basically. So a bluff charge, you see what they'll do is they kind of come running towards you, and at the last minute they stop, and they kind of throw their arms out and stop themselves. It's a big show of posturing to try and get you to draw back. A lot of times it gives those cubs time to retreat because you're taken aback by that. We had an officer that was bluff charged a couple months ago, and she stopped just short of him, and he kept his cool, didn't do anything about it, but right afterwards he sent me a text and he says, I need to go home and change my shorts. Very cute. He was a superhero to me because he didn't fire on that bear, he did not panic, he just held his ground, and that bear stopped and walked away, which is exactly what we would hope for. And he was doing the right thing at the time. He was trying to scare away that bear, and she was trying to give her multiple cubs time to get away, so that's where that happened. But you don't know it's a bluff charge when you haven't seen it very often because it's very convincing and on purpose. That bear is trying to get you to back off, but she doesn't really want to engage with you. So let's talk about why they're in our neighborhoods, why they're in Mount Dora. You see the garbage. Bird feeders, as I said, is a big one. If you're camping, do not have food sources in your tent, food smells. If you cooked barbecued in your clothes, don't wear those clothes into your tent. You want to keep those smells very separate. This is a bird feeder right here that's just about to be a snack. That pole is not going to keep it safe. And they learn dumpsters, even commercially. Let's look at our businesses around the area. Bear-proof dumpsters are a fantastic thing, and they're very helpful. And people tell me all the time, okay, I want my bird feeder, let's make it, bear safe. So that if you even go on our website, it tells you, you can try to put your bird feeder at least 10 feet off the ground and 4 feet out from the hanging source. And that should be good to keep a bear out. But that doesn't always work. Bears are persistent. I'm telling you, they're like walking stomachs. They're going to find a way. They are really food motivated. And so you can hang it just like we tell you, and sometimes that still doesn't work. And recognize the birds are messy. You've seen it. You can get bird seed all over the ground, and bears are going to come looking for that as well. So even if you say, oh, I take my bird feeders in at night, usually there's some residual on the ground that the bears get a hold of or are attracted to as well, and they may still come around. So that's always interesting. Bear-proof dumpsters, just real briefly on that. So, that's a plastic lid that none of us in this room could bend, but that bear can, no problem. On the right side, this is the bear-resistant dumpster. It has metal doors on the side that the bear can't bend, and a latch. Bears know to slide a door back and forth. If this latch isn't on there, it's not bear-resistant. So there are things that can be done. This is the type of thing you'll find at the campgrounds. We would like some of the local businesses that have bears getting into their dumpsters do that. Some of the fast food restaurants on 46 by the I-4 is the new Popeyes Chicken. We're talking to them about bear-resistant dumpsters because they have bears find that wonderful cooking at Popeyes. So they know where to go for the food, and that's a high calorie pop. And think about it, that's dangerous for staff. as well who have to come out there in the evenings and throw the garbage away, and there may be a bear in that dumpster. So we want to cut down on that kind of increased risk of running into a bear, because bears learn very quickly. If I can't get into that dumpster, I'm not even going to try. I'm going to go to an easier food source, and they'll stop hanging around.
Okay, here's the bear.
This is Heathrow, Seminole County.
In our back garden, just.
That's a bear-resistant trash can. Oh, there's a bear. He didn't even try to knock it over. He knows better. This is a bear that has tried before, probably in the past, and learned the visual of a bear-resistant trash can that I can't get into.
Gotta keep away.
Not a bear-resistant trash can. That's crazy, isn't it? So what's interesting about that is the guy across the street who did the right thing, he bought his bear-resistant trash can, bear's not getting into his garbage, goes right across the street, finds a meal, and brings it back to his house. Nobody wants to know their neighbors that well. You do not want that bear strewing garbage throughout your yard from your neighbors. That's not good. But, I felt bad for this guy because he had done the right thing and still ended up with trash in his yard. But, that's really one of the things that we've talked about. If we have more bear-wise communities, we would like more and more of the neighbors to string together bear-resistant trash cans on a street, on a cul-de-sac, because it's obviously way more effective that way. If that bear comes on your street and can't get into anybody's garbage, that bear's not going to come back visiting over and over. It walks right by it, just like it did that first can. They get that visual. They understand that's too hard. And that's why, one of the reasons I believe you all are seeing an increase in bear activity as well. Seminole County, back in 2015, passed our first bear trash ordinance in the state. Shortly after the attacks happened, the county commission got very serious about it, and they passed the ordinance that said you may not put garbage out until the day of pickup. You can't keep it stored on the side of your house. You can't keep attractants out, because they recognized it was creating a public safety threat with these bears just hanging around getting food all the time. So because of that, we have over a dozen now bear-wise communities in the urban bear management zone between I-4 and Wekiva, the woods there, and bears are not visiting as much, and so the bears are like, it's too hard to get food on this side of the forest, so they come across Wekiva to Orange and Lake County, where it's easier pickings because we don't have as many bear-resistant trash cans and dumpsters in place yet, but it's coming. Orange County did pass an ordinance. A lot of folks who live on the outskirts of Mount Dora are actually Orange County. Lake County also passed an ordinance. You are not supposed to put your garbage out until the morning of pickup, according to those ordinances, unless you have a bear-proof can. That is a fabulous exception. If you have that bear-resistant trash can, you can keep your garbage on the side of your house 7 days a week, because the bears can't get into it and they figure that out and stop trying. So it's a really great idea. If you're tired of keeping garbage in your garage, it's hot and it gets stinky and all that, this is a great remedy to it. And I never wanted to know this much about garbage cans, but it is really, truly effective. We're not trying to say these things to make people's lives difficult or to sell garbage cans. Really, though, our research and the anecdotal evidence that we've seen shows that it works. Wingfield North, where that first attack happened, their bear complaints have dropped off considerably. In the research that we did in Glenwood Springs up in Volusia County, their bear complaints dropped 95%. That is amazing efficacy. That's really good. Now the other number, so this is the bear-proof can. This is a retrofitted trash can. For folks who don't have access to the bear-resistant trash cans, retrofit is a possibility. It's kind of a Band-Aid approach. It's not quite as effective as the bear-resistant trash cans, but it's a good patch until we can make those bear-resistant trash cans available to those areas. However, we're finding that more and more cities and counties are able to get those cans. A few years ago, so a lot of you, whoops, oh yes, sorry, I thought that was my video. A lot of you have the trash service with the fully automated garbage can, where the arm comes out. No people get out of the truck. The arm magically comes out of the truck and dumps the can. 3 years ago, there were no bear-resistant trash cans that would open for that. So areas like Lake County and Orange County that have that fully automated service, we couldn't get bear-resistant trash cans to them. We just had to say, sorry, maybe try some straps and buckles. That's why that retrofit came about. Now, it's amazing, mother necessity breeds invention, right? So what happened is, instead some of the manufacturers got together and they worked incredibly hard on this problem, and now on the market there are bear resistant trash cans that will open when that trash is dumped at a certain kind of angle and force. You know, you get that kind of motion going, and it's this really amazing little, they haven't told us the secrets of what's going on in the mechanism, but it opens that lid, and so they can be dumped. And this is why Lake and Orange County now have bear resistant trash cans available to you. The thing is, those cans can be expensive. They can cost around $200 or more. And I know that's not fun, and that's a deal breaker for a lot of people in a lot of communities, and we're used to hearing that. So what we've been able to do over the past several years, the state, through a legislative budget request, a lot of words meeting, they gave money, grant money to FWC, $500,000 this year. In fact, just recently we got another $500,000 that we award to cities and counties to make bear-resistant trash cans more cost-efficient and reduced to you as the residents. And that has helped get far more of this hardware into the neighborhoods and on the ground. So for instance, you know, I mentioned $200 a can. Through money that Orange County and Lake County have requested from us, those bear-resistant trash cans are available to you for $50 a can. Now, I know that Mount Dora is a special case, and we have been working with Mount Dora. Well, in a lot of cities, you know, think, okay, well, we're kind of tucked under the county and kind of not. We've been talking to Mount Dora city officials, and, you know, feel free to give your input as well, and we're hoping that we can award them some funding as well to make those garbage cans available to you at reduced cost. So if you're not sure if you're covered by Orange County, you can go on the solid waste website for Orange County. You input your address, and it'll tell you if you qualify under their package deal for a bear-proof can. And if you do, you pay for it online, and they'll deliver it to you. Lake County, similarly, you contact them if you live in the Lake County area. If you live in Mount Dora, be patient. I'm hopeful it's coming. We've been working with places like Country Club of Mount Dora. I did a talk for Chester Hill Estates last night. We have a lot of neighborhoods that are starting to go this way, and we call it becoming bear-wise. When you get an entire community together, organized through their HOA that says, yes, we all want bear-proof cans, you're going to find it to be very effective, and you know, we're obviously going to give you excellent service, and because you're doing everything you can to shore up those attractants and keep from attracting bears into your neighborhood. And this is excellent for safety, not only for the bears, but for you. I mean, imagine, it's a proximity issue. Imagine, you know, 1 or 2 times a week, you're putting your garbage out at the end of the driveway, and the kids are walking by on their way to the bus stop, right? So there's a proximity issue. There could be bears in that garbage as the kids are walking by, or as you're walking your dogs, or a jogger goes by. If that is in a bear-proof trash can instead, and the bears know they can't get into it, you're less likely to have an encounter, a sighting, or any interaction with a bear, positive or negative. So that's one of the reasons we like to do that. It's reduced risk when you shut down that food source. So these are the things you can do. You know, people walk out of these talks, they say, what can I do to reduce bear visitation, to make it safer? You know, we all love seeing our bears. We're not going to eliminate that. We're not pulling all the bears out of the neighborhood or out of the city. What we'd rather do is have people learn to coexist successfully with them. So we do look at, you know, put away the cat food and the dog food. Please don't feed them outside. If you have to feed them outdoors, let them eat for like 5-10 minutes, then take those empty bowls inside with you. It makes a big difference. That way you don't have the residual out there.